Welcome to the County Connection, your direct link to everything happening in beautiful Shenandoah County. Presented by the Shenandoah County Chamber of Commerce, we're here to plug you into the businesses, people, and stories that make our community shine. Get ready to be informed, inspired, and connected. This is the County Connection.
Welcome to the County Connection, brought to you by the Shenandoah County Chamber of Commerce. I'm Justin Wightman.
And I'm Stuart Freakley. Today, we're focusing on a cause that touches nearly every family in some way. We're honored to be joined by Whitney Minnick from the American Cancer Society. Whitney, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
So let's start with basics, Whitney. For those of us who may not know, what is the American Cancer Society? What does it do? And what's your role there?
Now, the American Cancer Society funds cancer research and offers programs to patients and their families, primarily, among other things. My role as a senior community development manager is to work with communities on fundraising and sharing the programs and services that the American Cancer Society has to offer.
Yeah, that's great. And I know you're extremely active in that role because we see you everywhere.
Yes, I work with Shenandoah County and Rockingham County, and also students at JMU. So
That's a big lift.
Yeah,
it is, but it's really rewarding and really important.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
that's great. Sometimes, when we hear misconceptions that the American Cancer Society isn't really a local organization or doesn't directly help people here in our community, can you clear that up a little bit for us and tell us what that's looks like?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and it is definitely a concern for folks, especially when donating money. But the American Cancer Society has such a wide reach, which is a huge benefit. When someone calls the American Cancer Society, we can point them to resources all across the country, no matter where they live. We have a huge database, so while we are widespreading, we also can help people right here. We have a 24/7 cancer helpline, so anyone can call anytime, day or night, to get any question answered, get local resources. We have free rides to and from treatment, and that's something that happens here in our community. And outside of that, really for life, it is a fundraiser, but it's also a great support system. So the people that are involved get to connect with other survivors and caregivers. Over the years, seeing that happen, that's something that happens right here in our community.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. So let's build on that a little bit. Can you share some specific ways the American Cancer Society really gives back, both nationally and right here in Shenandoah County? I know you touched on a few.
Yeah, so I mentioned the 24/7 helpline, and I mentioned the free rides to and from treatment. So we have volunteers locally that will drive folks that aren't able to take themselves. Transportation is a huge barrier for a lot of patients. Either they don't feel well enough to drive themselves, or they just simply don't have reliable transportation. And so to have someone that can help, and these are trained volunteers, so they know what to do if someone gets sick or starts to show different symptoms. And so they're there to help. Another thing that we do, we have free lodging. So a lot of times patients need to travel away from home to get the best treatment. And so we're able to connect them with different hotels or different services, but we also have our own. They're called Hope Lodges. So we have over 30. The closest one to us is in Baltimore. And it's really a community of, the patients and their families. They get to stay there. They have meals together. They even bring in entertainment. So it truly is just a great place with lots of hope.
That is.
That's incredible. That's cool. It's time of recording. It's first part of October here, and it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Which raises a lot of energy and attention for you all. So why is this month so important, and what message do you hope that people take away from it?
Yeah, you do hear a lot about pink in October. And, the number one cancer outside of skin cancer that affects women is breast cancer. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with that in their lifetime. And so the American Cancer Society is currently funding over $84 million in breast cancer research alone. I think another misconception, a lot of times when people want to give to breast cancer research or programs, they look for something with breast cancer in their name. But the American Cancer Society is actually the number one funder of breast cancer research, even though we fund all types of cancer research. So,
incredible.
I feel really confident in what we do in the research that we fund. And so it's huge for October. Also, we connect breast cancer patients with other patients that may have had a similar diagnosis, so they have someone they can talk to. Because people have friends and family, but they don't always know what they're going through. So to be able to connect them with a volunteer that has knowledge from ACS as part of their training is huge.
That's awesome. Great. Yeah, it's great. So of course, the American Cancer Society isn't just focused on breast cancer, like you just said, because you said you're funding all of them, so, but you have a heavy focus, obviously, in the breast cancer side of it. Can you walk us through how ACS supports people during all types of cancer or dealing with different types?
Yeah, I think I touched pretty well on the program. So I'll just talk a little bit more about like the local event.
Yeah.
So Relay for Life, it started off as a 24-hour walk. One guy walked 24 hours and raised a ton of money. And then from there, he invited his friends the next year, and then it evolved all across the country into these walks. They're no longer overnight. It is a shorter event, but teams from churches, businesses, families, they come together to fundraise throughout the year and then come to Relay for Life, to celebrate as a community. So we recognize the survivors and caregivers, and it's a fun time. So lots of activities for everyone. And, I mentioned earlier, just those relationships, it truly feels like a family, and it's people that have been through it and can connect and relate and feel supported. And watching a survivor take that lap, around the track with people cheering them on, and even realizing other people that they didn't know were going through it too. A couple of years ago, we had a gentleman who was in his 80s, and it took him a very, very long time to walk his lap. And it even started raining, and someone runs out with an umbrella, and then he finishes, and everyone else was long done, but everybody ran back over to the finish. They were cheering for him. So it's stuff like that that just means so much to these people who've been through so much. And to me, that's one of the biggest things, aside from the research funding and the programs, we're encouraging people right here in our community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why, it's such a big deal what you're doing. And and I know for us, American Cancer Society, you talk about it being a national organization that feels big, but we do so much with you, Whitney, that it does feel very local, because you are involved in so much, and, all the different, events going on, we see it, everything. And so it's great. So I've always felt like it's been a local thing ever since I know you, just because it's, we're so close to you. So it's awesome. And the work you do is incredible. And the work you're doing here in both counties and with the students at JMU is awesome. So I know there's an exciting event coming up, right? So Pink Power Day at Shenandoah Downs. So what can we expect that day? How does it help raise awareness and support?
Yeah, so they've been doing this event for a couple of years. They do different things every year, so kind of mix it up. But they recognize local cancer survivors there, do a fundraiser themselves, and just give back, give the funds to the Relay for Life in support of that month. So it's great to have another organization in the community. It's not something we're putting on, it's something they're doing, and we've connected with them. So those are some great partnerships. And like you said at the beginning, almost everybody's been impacted by cancer. When we're able to partner with different organizations in the community, it's great to see the support.
That's awesome.
Yep. So we need to know, how did you personally get connected with Shenandoah Downs for this partnership?
Yeah, well, I actually started volunteering with Autumn Fest, and that is how, at one of the meetings, they mentioned wanting to do a breast cancer fundraiser. And I'm like, well, I can certainly talk to you about that. And that is how it happened. So, yes, so I'll ride the horse around. But it turned out to be a great partnership. And so I think getting involved with things like the chamber, you never know when you're going to have that connection, because that's definitely not something I'd set out to connect on.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So if your folks listening who are inspired and want to help, what's the best way to contact the American Cancer Society or get involved locally?
Yeah, I think, there's so many different ways you can get involved. I mentioned the rides to and from treatment. So if somebody wants to drive somebody, they can do that. If someone wants to make a donation, they can do that. Or even just come out to the event and support. There's so many different ways. So contacting me or someone else that's involved. We're very active on Facebook. So Relay for Life of Shenandoah County. We always have all of our fundraisers and events. But the support in this community has never ceased to amaze me. This year, we raised over $130,000 for the American Cancer Society.
That's incredible. Yeah.
We have about 25 teams. So it is a smaller group of people, but it is just incredible, the generosity of those involved. So it truly is a community of support.
I think I remember the first Relay for Life at the fair, first couple at least. Our church would go do a team, and then Yeah, I remember going to the one at the fair after my dad passed away from cancer, and to see the support we got, my brother and I, just from going through that. This was 20 plus years ago, but just shows how long this event's been going on. It still made a big impact on us, and it was cool to see that network, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Support that everybody gives each other. So it's a great thing. Great thing.
It is.
So
yeah, it's more than a fundraiser. I always tell people it's so much more than a fundraiser.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Whitney. It's been great. And everything you and the American Cancer Society do, both across the nation and right here in Shenandoah County.
Yeah.
So
thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And to our listeners, whether it's participating in Relay for Life, attending Pink Power Day, or simply spreading awareness, there's so many ways we can all make a difference in the fight against cancer.
That's right. This has been the County Connection from the Shenandoah County Chamber of Commerce. Until next time, stay connected, Shenandoah County. Thank you.
To take the next step in growing your business or to become a member, visit the Shenandoah County Chamber of Commerce at www.shenandoahcountychamber.com. There you'll find resources, our event calendar, and a full member directory. Be sure to check us out on our social media on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Thank you for joining us on the County Connection, where we connect business and build community. Remember, staying connected is how we all thrive. See you next time.